little of a walk, power walk. It was a power walk for me uphill, and it's kind of hard to start this faith talk because I'm just like out of breath and I can't think of anything to ask. But I want to know what your journey's been like so far.
So far,
Yeah.
my journey is kind of like this hike.
Yeah.
It's
You can-
continuously building,
Yeah.
and I'm continuously learning new things about myself as I learn more about Christ, which is
Okay.
crazy.
But you've been on this hike like a few times, so you know the hike already. But in life,
I know this hike, but it's still super hard, and I'm always trying to challenge myself. Like I'm saying, right now I'm at a jog. I want to get to a run,
yeah.
and we're nowhere near a run yet.
So you're saying about running, and how does this reflect life for you or your faith for you?
Well,
And
it's
hiking,
hard.
yeah.
But it's a push. Like when I run, I try to push myself instead of go, and that's kind of how you should be with Christ, because you should always want to go to be closer to Him,
Yeah.
and to push and to try to get into His presence more. And I feel like we lack that discipline of continue to try, especially when He gets in seasons of not talking back, and
Yeah.
we're just like, what? It's kind of like this run, because
Yeah.
sometimes I run this and I'm just like, oh, I did good today, and I'll come back the next day and it's like, I suck. Like,
Yeah.
what in the world? I barely got through the run. So
Yeah.
when I came here, I had this idea, I had this big plan of what I was gonna do in my life. But when I got here, it's actually when I came back to Christ, and He had a totally different story for me. So I was homeless for 2 years, and throughout my homelessness and the things I was going through, I will always be by these beautiful, radiant flowers. And the sadder I got, the more beautiful the flowers were. Actually, I used to come here a lot when I was homeless, and the flowers, as you can see, they're coming out right now, and they're all radiant. When I was going through such a drought and such an empty place in my life, He always gave me flowers.
Yeah.
And now I keep flowers with me everywhere I go. Like the happiest people get depressed the most. It's harder for them to be able to talk about being depressed, just because everyone wants you to be happy. And I feel like you're people's cornerstone when they're depressed, because there's like, oh, I can always come to her because she's always happy. But you have to understand that everyone gets depressed, and it's okay to be depressed, but it's not okay to stay there.
Yeah.
And when you get depressed, that's when you have to call on God the most, and don't look to people, because that's what we want to do. We want to go out, we want to find friends, we want to take a drink, we want to try to find all these man-made things to make us happy, but that's only going to make you worse, and it's only just covering up what's really there and what you're really depressed about. Because I've always suffered with depression, and it's taken me a while to really just sit down and really think like, okay, why am I depressed at this moment? What am I depressed about?
Yeah.
And then taking those things to God.
Yeah, what does that look like when you take things to God, and what is the process like for you? What is that like?
It's really a conversation. Now, recently I went through a situation where I had to let a friend go, and it was really bothering me. And so I really just had to talk to God about it. Like, okay, God, am I wrong about feeling this way? I don't really understand this right now. I'm really upset. Like, this doesn't really make sense to me. Like, I'm upset about it. And instead of just holding that in, I talk to Him. I talk to him, a real conversation. And then if you're not at peace about it, it's to keep talking about it to Him. And sometimes He'll lead you to a person, which He did. He led me, a person popped in my mind, and I called that person.
Yeah.
And I told them my situation, and she was like, okay, I've been through that. So it's really just talking to God about it. Let Him know first.
Yeah.
And then He will always provide a way to either He'll give you peace about it, or He'll lead you to a person who can give you peace about it, because they went through the same situation themselves.
Do you know what I think, or like how I look at it?
Yeah.
So I used to say, oh, God knows my heart. He knows what my real intentions are.
Yeah.
So it's... He knows what my real intentions are.
Yeah.
And so I can maintain my lifestyle the way it is. That was my thinking before.
Yes.
But then the more I get to know him, I'm like, no, you know what? Yes, okay, like I'm not a bad person, but he does have standards. And the more you get to know him, the more you have to be like him. Not have to, but it's just like people. The more you spend time with a person,
yeah,
you start, their personality rubs off on you.
Yeah.
And so now I realize that because of the standards, there's certain things I can't keep in my life that I used to.
Yeah.
And then including people.
Yeah.
And that's the most difficult for me.
People will unfriend themselves if you let them.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about really trying to think of who I should get out of my life.
Yeah.
No, once you start getting closer to God, you will start to notice things that you've never noticed before. Like, if this was me back in the day,
yeah,
I would have blew it off like, oh, okay, people just treat you that way. Some things just happen like that, but the more I get with Christ, I'm just like, no, I don't deserve to be treated like this. This is not how I would treat you.
Your standards raised too.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
And I know that He will never take anything away without either giving it back or giving me something better.
Yeah.
So I'm not afraid to let go of things, especially from the things I've been through in my life. Like, if it's not for me, I'm like, let it go.
It's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It must be for a reason. And I don't try to. Sometimes I do question God.
Yeah.
But I question Him less now because He's brought me through so much that I know He loves me. I know He wants the best for me. Just because He's opening up so many doors for me.
Yeah.
And then He's letting me realize things that I used to play off and they used to hurt me. And He doesn't want me to be hurt.
Yeah.
He doesn't want me to be around people who hurt me or who really don't care about me, or
intentions.
who really aren't genuine, who want to claim to be genuine.
And this is something that I feel like I've talked about this a lot, but my plan, which we were talking about in the car, which was like when you make a plan, like, what do you say? It's funny. God laughs every time you make a plan. When you tell Him your plan. And so my plan about getting to know Christ and all that was like, I'll do it when I'm 50. Did you have a similar attitude maybe? Ooh. Did you have?
No. I grew up in church.
Yeah.
And then I had like a nice little rocky teenage year.
Yeah.
So I actually stopped going to church my sophomore year of high school, and then I never returned to church. But I had like little yearnings the more and more I went on through life. But
Good morning.
Good morning. Like I said, once I graduated undergrad, I came to California with my own plans.
Yeah.
And God was like, okay, no, I'm ready. It's either now or whatever.
Yeah.
It's never. But He wanted me at that moment.
Yeah.
And I was ready. I was ready for that. And